There's still quite a wide variety of different proprietary protocols and networks and field bus systems in existence today. They're quite widely used. They've been around for a couple of decades or so. They've generally come from specific vendors, so they've been proprietary in that sense, and they were designed really to do a specific job at the time. So perhaps they've been quite quirky. Some of them have had reputations for being quite difficult to set up and configure. Maybe they've required specialist skills and training. So that aside, over the time they've been installed in the marketplace, they've proven to be quite reliable and quite robust. So they've done a job and they've done it quite well. What we are seeing, however, is that industrial control and automation systems are becoming more complicated, they're becoming more complex, there's more connectivity required, there's more intelligent devices exchanging more data. And really now, these proprietary systems I've talked about are starting to show their age in terms of data bandwidth and connectivity and the flexibility of what can be connected where. As we move forward now, we're seeing big growth in the usage and the deployment of industrial Ethernet as opposed to these proprietary systems. And the reason for that really is quite clear. It does provide some substantial business benefit. First of all, we have industrial Ethernet gives us a great deal of flexibility in terms of what we can connect, in terms of the topologies of the networks. We can star, we can daisy chain, we can loop connect to achieve redundant connections. It's also media independent. So we, generally speaking, industrial Ethernet will use copper cable. It's fine for up to 100 meters. But if we want extended distance, or we want better immunity to noise and interference, then we can quite easily exchange and move to fibre optics. If we've got difficult to reach locations or difficult to cable to instances, then we can easily jump across to Wi-Fi solutions. So we've got a mixture of media that we can easily access. Another great thing about industrial Ethernet, because it's based on internet technologies, then it lends itself to web-based user interface, which simplifies and rationalizes the tools that operators are using. And of course, the engineers coming into industry today are already quite well versed and tooled up as far as knowledge is concerned. Of course, they've grown up with the internet and Wi-Fi hubs and broadband configurations at home. There's a lot of hype in the press at the moment concerning industrial Internet of Things and Industry 4.0. What that means in the world of industrial automation and control systems, effectively we're seeing more intelligent devices, more smart devices coming in, and with that brings more data. We're not interested anymore about the pure process and production data that we were interested in gathering a decade or so ago. There's a far richer array of data that we need to access. Let's say, for example, we have asset management data. We're wanting to gather as much data and history from the device as we possibly can, so that we can put in place preventative maintenance programs. We're also very interested in the device's energy consumption data. There's a lot of pressure on businesses and industry to reduce energy consumption, as well as reducing carbon footprint. And we can only do that if we start to actively gather energy consumption data from the devices. Another aspect of data which is overloading our systems is video streaming, for example, where it's quite interesting nowadays to be able to have a physical view of what's going on practically on the plant, but superimpose and synchronize that with alarm data. The big benefit of industrial Ethernet, as opposed to the proprietary systems we've talked about, is that it allows us to manage all these different data types and different media through different protocols on the same physical cable. As well as that, though, most importantly, with industrial Ethernet, we're able to manage and channel and route that data and prioritize that data, so we're not overloading parts of the system that don't need to be overloaded. The great thing is that industrial Ethernet is very much based on open industry standard technologies. And as these technologies and standards evolve, so too do the products behind them. It means that industrial automation, control systems and solutions will benefit from the economies of scale of domestic and commercial applications, which are driving the technologies and the standard forward.